morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Please let me know, guys, in the AMA chat if you can hear me all right. Great, great, just awesome. Great, so let's begin. How about we start with a bit of an introduction for myself? Today I'll be your host, DronePR6. I'll be joined by Delita. He'll be chiming in every once in a while to answer a few questions and answer some of the main questions we've prepared. He's one of our devs that's been working hard to preparing the code for everyone, and also just an amazing guy. So please, any questions you have related to tech or development of the project, he'll probably be answering them, or I'll be able to answer some if I can. So first off, like I said, my name is Drone. I currently work in the PR team for Pragma. I take care of a lot of things like sort of big level strategic contacts and stuff like that, research when it comes to anything we want to do in terms of like partnerships, as well as I'll be the guy that'll probably be hosting most of the AMAs, as well as preparing tutorials and explanation videos for everyone regarding topics in terms of Pragma, how it works. We have a few very interesting videos coming up explaining how our whitelist will work and other such topics. So please keep an eye out for that. The way this is going to work is that, as many of you saw in the announcement chat, or I don't know, Delita, before we continue, Delita, if you want to present yourself.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, just closing all the stuff here to avoid notifications and other sounds. Okay, I'm Delita. I'm the dev of the team, one of the dev of the team, and I'm like working on the Solidity code. I'm working in our DApp, build a website, and I will build all the future products that Pragma has lined out for you after the launch. And looking forward for this. Gonna continue.
Awesome, thanks. So a quick explanation as to why we've decided to go with this format. As many of you saw, we were collecting questions via a form in the announcement channel. The idea was that with this form, we could get a sense of what is the priority doubts that everyone has, so we could cover those first during this AMA. As well as see if there are things that maybe in the white paper they're not that clear, and maybe we need to go into more detail, maybe simplify them a bit more. It's more than anything to get a general survey as to what the community is thinking about and have it in a more organized and tidy way. As with these AMAs and the chat, sometimes it might be a bit difficult. We might miss some questions, or we might not have enough time to cover all of them. So the whole point of that forum was specifically just to make sure that we could cover as much as we could. But other than that, we got a few responses. So those responses, we're going to be looking at them at no particular order. And then we're going to open up the chat to some other questions if anyone has something that some questions that came up during the answers we will be making during this session, or if anything else has come up and maybe you didn't get a chance to answer the form or whatever. So let's begin with the main questions that we've prepared for this. Mostly, like I said, this has been prepared seeing as how many are, what was priority or what was the concerns from the form, and then we'll switch over to the chat. If you guys have any questions right now, if you guys, please just wait until we finish the first round of questions, and then we'll take questions from the chat, okay? Thank you, everyone. The first question I think we'll cover is regarding future partnerships, so what sort of plans we have for future partnerships and what we're going to be going with. I think right now we're very open to any sort of partnership that helps us build community, and if there's anything that comes along the line that helps us better whatever Pragma does as a contract, as a protocol, we will also be looking into that. But right now, I think the main priority for us is to make sure that we have a proper launch, make sure that the current community that we have is well consolidated, that everyone is getting their voice heard, and making sure we have enough hands-on to make sure we're taking care of the community as it is right now. So we don't have any future partnerships in the pipeline, or at least nothing concrete that I would like to talk about right now. Everything is just up in the air. We're talking, we're seeing how we can collaborate with a few groups and a few parties. But once we do have concrete status or parameters for any sort of these relationships, we'll make sure to let everyone know. thing is let's move on to whitelist, because I'm sure everybody's very, very interested and very curious about how the whitelist will be going down, specifically the initial offering and the whitelist sale. Um, so the first thing is people were asking if there's going to be a guaranteed allocation for the whitelist holders. Yes, it will be guaranteed. It won't be a first come first serve. I'll talk a little bit more about the minimums and maximums of the whitelist and the wholesale later on. But just be sure that if you have a whitelist spot, you go have a guaranteed allocation. If you want to buy the max, everyone can buy the max. There's no need to worry that everything might be eaten up before you get the chance to. So yeah. And there was also questions about when the contest winners for some of the whitelists and some of the contests would, like for the example, the Pragma contests will be announced. The plan is that we close all of the contests on the 31st, and maybe 2 to 3 days after that, we will be presenting with everyone who the winners are, contacting them, and letting them know how they can proceed with sending us either their address or any other sort of contact info that we might need in order to make your prize, be delivered. Now let's talk about the initial offering. Big spoiler alert: we've prepared a very simple video explaining how the initial offering is going to work. It's a video that I prepared, explaining in very big detail. Well, sorry, not big detail, but like a very big, a very overhead explanation, a very simple explanation of the whitelist and initial offering model that we will be using. So please also keep an eye out for that. It'll be talking about a bit more in detail, some stuff that we don't want to announce just yet. But for now, what we can give you guys is that we have a target date for what is the April the 6th. This is going to be, like I said, it's a target date, so it could change. It's all dependent on our audit results. We're currently being audited by Solidity Finance. We should be getting the results during the end of this week. And once those results for the first review are done, Delita here will take care of reviewing those results, making sure the contract is changed, any sort of issues are fixed, and once all of that is a-okay and Solidity has done their second review or third review, and then made sure that everything is up to speed and everything is up to the parameters of their security protocols, we will go ahead and determine and fix the date for the launch. But the target is the 6th, hoping that there won't be that many issues with the audit.
Tomorrow, Drone,
Yes.
just interrupting. I think Solidity is coming back to us tomorrow, right? And then
Okay.
there's a review, and then we resend to them, and then they will come back again. Tomorrow the 31st
Okay.
is the date.
Okay.
I hope, yeah, I will resend as quick as I can, and I hope the Solidity also can come back to us before our target date. Target date 6, right? 1 week from today.
Exactly. Which I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday, isn't it? The next the 6th.
Next Wednesday, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so now let's talk a bit about the parameters that right now we can make public in terms of the whitelist and the sale. Another big spoiler: we are having a public sale that will be using a very special model. That will be a first come first serve situation. But like I said, I'm preparing a video explaining a bit more on how that public sale will work. Also, probably a tutorial video on how you can participate in this public sale. It'll be open to everybody. But in general terms, the caps for the sales for the whitelist sale, it'll be a cap of minimum 50 USDC, a maximum of 1,000 USDC. Like I said, it's a guaranteed allocation. It'll run for 24 hours. It's going to be a very simple and typical whitelist sale. And the public sale, like I said, it's going to be a special model. We'll be going more in depth into that model and how it'll work in the video that I'm preparing for you guys. But it'll run for 72 hours. The main thing here is that I know everyone's interested about the price. Very important to note that the price is mathematically calculated to make sure that the sales go down as smoothly as possible. So if at any point we want to change some parameters between now and the launch, or we need to change some parameters, well, of course, since you could say that the price is at the end of the day part of the function of this equation that we're using to calculate everything. Well, of course, when we change those parameters, the price will also change. So we don't want to make any expectations as to like the price is going to be this. Once we're closer to the launch and once we're very certain or very confident in the model that we're going to use and the parameters, we'll be announcing the price to make sure that we don't make up doing any sudden changes to everyone and don't end up changing the price at the last minute.
Can I interrupt
Yes.
one thing very quick?
Yes, go ahead.
You answer another thing. You just answer another thing that people might ask after. Yes, we
Mhm.
are running our initial offering with you have to buy Pragma with USDC.
Ex-
Okay, some people were asking me if we used to use Phantom or USDC. We're using USDC for the
Yeah,
initial
thanks.
offering.
Thanks for clarifying that
Sorry,
point.
sorry.
Thank you very much. Let's move on with development questions and features. Some people were asking what the contingencies that we have are for whale dumping, and also very specific on why we are not using a dynamic tax system. So, to starting off with dumping and the contingencies for dumping, and I think this is very related to the dynamic tax system, since a lot of protocols use dynamic tax in order to um, um, counteract whenever the whales dump. But I think the first thing that we have to realize is that any sort of tax system will always end up being a short-term answer, and the dump could come not just from whales, but the dumps can come from multiple actors or multiple wallets selling off at the same time. So really, if we just take into account whales for these contingencies, well, it's only half the answer. It's only a short-term answer. We have to know that whenever it is we're talking about creating price stability and making sure dumps or big movements on the liquidity pool don't affect the price, the answer or how we have to solve this is via the liquidity pool. Is make sure that we have greater liquidity. By increasing liquidity, we decrease the impact on the price whenever somebody decides to sell off a big portion of their progma. So that's already taken into place with the tokenomics. As many of you know, there's a 5% of the buy tax and the sell tax goes into the liquidity pool, and that helps us. So the liquidity increase is pretty high. We actually increase 1.98 times faster than, for example, Titano. So it's very important to take into account that whenever we want to talk about, how to counteract oil movements, it's by increasing the liquidity pool. But other than that, we also have a lot of like cool things in mind. We of course, the selling tax also helps a bit with counteracting people just dumping everything out, because once they do sell off, there's a 20% sell tax, and of course this sell tax means that a big portion of their gains will go back into the protocol. Um, the liquid hybrid vesting protocol that we will be using, like I said, that's mainly put in place to make sure we respect the wishes of users that want to sell off in the short term or as soon as we launch, but also make sure that they can't sell off their whole positions, and we can avoid any sort of major dumps. We have a special function set up in the code to make sure that bots can't spam sell. So this function is in short terms set up so that way if the contract detects that a bot is doing their work or is being too quick for what a typical human would be able to manually sell and buy their progma. It'll make it so that way they have a bit of a delay, and they'll have to work in the times of what a typical person would do whenever they are manually selling or buying. And as well as the system that we have in place for the whitelist sale and for the public sale is set up in a way to make sure that we could probably have the biggest amount of cash or of income to create a much stronger and a much larger liquidity pool. And like I said, I'll be talking a bit more about that process in a later video. Now, the dynamic tax system, if not mistaken, there should already be in the chat small link to TradingView, which is a graph showing why we're specifically not using a dynamic tax system. Like I said, dynamic tax systems in the end of the day are just going to be short-term answers. If everyone can take a look at that graph, it's regarding Sphere, which is on the Matic network. If you can see at first, even with the dynamic tax system, there was a huge downfall as soon as after the project launched. Of course, it recovered after some people decided to come in after they saw that the price has gone down a bit, and well, they were interested in buying in. But as you can see in the graph, the dynamic tax system didn't really do much. In what we've seen and what the devs have seen is that 99% of the time, it doesn't really offer much in terms of protecting from the dumps. And another thing that I think is very important is that the dynamic system in the long term or in the future could end up just penalizing some of our diamond hand holders. We're expecting that with, of course, with any rebase token, we expect that our holders will end up being diamond hands, and they will hold on to the token for a long time. And of course, eventually, if you hold on for long enough, you yourself technically become a whale. So we see the dynamic tax system, or a tax system that specifically targets whales, as something that could be counterintuitive, or penalize users that have been holding on for so long. Then after a long time of holding on, they get this tax system. They get, it's sort of like they've been diamond hands, and we're penalizing them for being diamond hands. So we don't think it's such a good system. And plus, like we've seen, it's not that effective in making sure that the that the price isn't affected from dumps. I'm running out of battery, guys. It seems. If you guys could give me just 2 quick minutes, Delita, if you could take over a bit, maybe go ahead with answering the why we've decided with FTM to answer the question. And I'll run real quick for my charger for my laptop.
Okay. Oh well. Okay, 162 people listening, and you leave me alone. See some questions here. People are asking on the chat about USDC. Yes, we chose to go with USDC on the IO. And a lot of people, someone said like, oh, only 1,000. Only 1,000 for is the cap, but we want to spread as much as we can for everyone has a chance to get the whitelist, and no one come and buy buy the cap from the like of the other people. And even if you're on the whitelist, when we open the public sale, you will be also you can also buy on the public sale. Jerome will explain better how to on his video how the public sale will work. And so the question that Drone left was why we chose Phantom. I think the reason we chose Phantom was one thing is like lack of competition. When we decided to create Pragma, there was none release token on Phantom. I think only Hector DAO was running on Phantom at the time. It's a own fork. And since then, since we start working in early January, Palace was created. I think they rugged, or they closed their operation. And there are other 2 forks running, one called Poseidon and one called Uranus. And I think F Libero is launching today on Phantom as well. Once we decided to go, was one of the reasons, like, yeah, Phantom doesn't have much competition. And the other reason is, Phantom is a smaller blockchain compared to BSC or AVAX, for example, or even Ethereum. But Ethereum is another reason. And Phantom has a good room to grow. So that's we believe, like, as we in Pragma have we are new and we have a lot of room to grow as market cap. I think Phantom as a whole will have a lot of room to grow as in the market cap. I'll go through the chat and have a look if there are any new questions that I can cover.
I'm back. If we can continue with
Drone.
Yeah,
I'm back.
When we can handle those questions in the end. If you see anything that's interesting, write it down, and we'll look over them when we get to the open questions section. Just to add a little bit. Yeah,
Drone.
can you hear me? Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
And just to add a little bit to Delita's point on why Phantom, talking with some other of our devs, it's also very important to note that Phantom sort of seems to offer great response in terms of addressing the trilemma that most blockchains have. So the trilemma is that whenever you're developing a blockchain, you want to make sure that it's equal parts and can be equally scaled or improved in terms of speed, security, and decentralization. As with some of the legacy or original blockchains that we have, what are compromises in some of these? It's you have to sometimes compromise in either one of these 3 aspects in order to make sure that you're developing correctly, or that maybe we're very heavy on decentralization. For example, Bitcoin, very heavy on decentralization and thus very secure, but the speed starts to lack or starts to get compromised unless you're taking into account the Lightning Network. But still, base blockchain pretty slow for what we would expect for digital technology nowadays. So what can be really seen at the end of the day is that Phantom addresses these three issues and scales these three issues very well. We might also prepare a video more on that and how to better explain why we've decided Phantom, because there's a lot of awesome technical aspects about it, but I'd rather not go much into detail into it because, like I said, that could require its own session. But mostly as a blockchain, I think Phantom is very promising from a technical standpoint in solving these issues.
And fees.
Yes, fees are very low for Phantom, which is also good because running a contract or a rebase takes a lot of fees, and plus it's also good for the user, so you don't have to spend that much whenever it is you're doing transactions. And with what Delita mentioned in terms of our some of our competition, I think that's a good segue into a lot of people. A lot of people were asking what makes us different, what sort of advantages we have as a project. Again, this has been a question that's been going around for quite a while, and we're preparing a very, very special post, sort of doing a comparison between ourselves and some of our competitors. Once that's done, we'll chime you guys in and tag you in the announcement channel so you can take a more in-depth look in that. But I think the big or the short question for this is, at the end of the day, the team. This is gonna sound a bit cheesy maybe, but I can tell you guys from personal experience, because I have a background in traditional finance and in traditional like the VC sector. A team is really what separates and defines a good project, because at the end of the day, all of these projects are some way entrepreneur projects because we're starting some sort of business model. What really is going to separate the competition is the team, a team that knows what they're doing, has the technical expertise, and not only that, but understands their market. And I think lots of times some of these projects go in and they're just copy paste of Titano or some other project, but they don't really understand the market of what they're going in or what the model has. And I think what our team has done a lot is taken to review the Titano model and made sure to check out all the aspects that they think are the downfalls or are the cons of the Titano model, and fixed it, rearranged it to make sure that it's an improved contract. It's an improved version of Titano. It's not just a simple fork. It's not just a simple copy paste. They have taken the time to make sure that if we are making a Titano model project, that we are taking into account what sort of places Titano itself is lacking in and how we can improve on this. And not only that, but I think the biggest thing about the team that really is going to separate us is going to be the dividend. I wish I could give you guys and share with you guys the experience I've personally had with the traders and the team we have. We have people with extreme knowledge in terms of mathematics, engineering, some people with physics degrees, and we're not putting this just simply for marketing or try to create hype. This is a reality that this is some of what makes a big difference in terms of what our traders can do. And what they're going to be doing is using the treasury that is created after the initial offering. And with that, we are going to see much more stable and much greater returns in the growth of the treasury. And of course, since the treasury is not ours as a team, but is the protocols, and U.S. holders or future holders are actually the owners of the protocol. The idea is that we're going to be distributing some of that growth in a dividend. It will be either in USDC or Phantom. That's still to be determined. But that's, I think, the biggest selling point, and I think everyone should really keep an eye out for that, because at the end of the day, that's going to really define what we can offer you guys. That additional return from the dividend, which, trust me, it'll be spectacular. And not only that, but because of the model we're using in order for managing the treasury growth, the dividend will of course be larger with each month, because we're not. The whole growth is not given away directly to the users. Some of the growth is kept in the treasury, and of course that growth that we did not distribute to the users is put into trading again, and then next month that sort of creates a somewhat compound effect. So I think that's like the biggest selling point. The team itself is really prepared, is really knowledgeable, and is really going to define what we can do in the future, as well as separate ourselves from the competition. And the results will speak for themselves, particularly when it comes to that. The next question, moving on still with what is our features. Some people were asking about what the deflation or the inflation controls will be. I think a lot of this is referring to what sort of buyback or burning mechanisms we have in place. So the first thing I want to clarify is that we're not using automatic buyback. Mainly because automatic buyback can sometimes just be ourselves shooting ourselves in the foot. The buyback is going to be manual, or the burn is going to be manual. This is mainly because if we do it manual, our traders, our treasury management can also analyze the trend of how Pragma is doing. And by determining how well Pragma is doing or how the market sentiment for the token is, they can determine, okay, you know what, we're getting good sentiment. There's no need for a burn, or you know what, maybe it would be better to go ahead with a burn. It's mainly just so we can have that additional factor of a good, robust analysis on the token to make sure that we can determine when would be appropriate times for burning and buying back. Go ahead, Delita.
We can adjust then with time. Yes, I think this.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing we can do is that the contract is set up so the users can themselves can adjust the functions that emit new tokens, or the inflation function, the creation of new Pragma tokens, so that way the inflation is reduced. And that's something else that we will be talking a bit more about whenever the DAO model is ready. Now,
I can add a little bit on that if you want to, Drone. Yeah. Okay. We don't, like, for example, one question that came in to us is like if we plan to change the inflation rate in the future, and asking using the Safefu and the RingFi model as an example, that they have hard coded inflation. The inflation is going lower with time. We decided not to go this way, but there is a function that we can decrease the inflation rate in the future, but this will be decided by the community. We will bring to the community how will be this change in the inflation rate in the future. So the code has a function that we allow us to change the inflation rate, only lower, not increase, and this will be there for the future case that we can use it.
Okay, yeah, great. And from what I understand, this change in deflation rate doesn't really affect our APY or the return we can offer to users, right? Yeah. No worries.
Can you say again?
From what I understand, this
change
in the deflation rate doesn't affect the APY, does it?
Oh, yeah. No. It's when I say inflation rate. Sorry if I was incorrect. I'm talking about the APY. The how. Okay. How quick the rewards will come. Does that make sense? Sorry. I terms sometimes.
No worries.
Background.
No worries. Yeah. Mostly just to make sure that everyone's on the same page, because I think sometimes we can talk about inflation and APY, and some people might get their wires crossed, and we can get these sort of confusion. Just to sort of clarify for the community. Great, awesome. No worries, mate. Great. So now another thing a lot of people have been asking about is investments. There's been a lot of comparison to Sphere's model as to maybe why we're not going with their model of simply accumulating governance tokens. That's only part, or it could be part of what we could do with the investments of the treasury, because it's very important to note, and I think the best way that we can summarize a problem is that we're actually going to be like a decentralized investment fund, an investment hedge fund, whatever you want to call it, and we're not just going to limit ourselves to trading. We're also going to be looking at yield farming, looking at stablecoin return, staking, any sort of like strategy that we see within the DeFi world that will be beneficial to us. Like, for example, participating in other IDOs, other ICOs, participating in new projects that are coming up that look interesting. What's really going to happen is, at the end of the day, we're not just going to stick to trading. We're going to be looking at various methods of investing, or various methods of making the treasury grow via returns. So the main idea is to have a diverse portfolio of strategies and not just stick with trading. So I hope that sort of answers the question. Where we will look into governance tokens and stuff like that, but it's like it's only a part, it's only a fraction of what it is we're going to be doing, because everybody on the team has very diverse knowledge and experience as to how they've invested into the DeFi world. Some people with trading strategies, some people with yield farming, some people with bots. It's crazy. It's really awesome. And again, speaking from my own experience in traditional finance, diversification is key. Whenever it is you want to talk about investments, the more strategies you can have and the more diverse those strategies can be, way better, because strategies will work in different market conditions, and thus you can have covered for any time there's an up and or down within the market. Uh, the dividend mechanism. The dividend mechanism. Some people were asking what the conditions are for the dividend and who will be able to receive the dividend. That is going to change when the newly developed vaults are going to come up. The vaults, we haven't talked much about them because they're still under development, and there's a lot of cool functions behind them. But for the time being, from the beginning of Pragma, everyone who holds Pragma will be receiving the dividend. We'll be probably using a snapshot in order to determine this. But later on, when the vault comes out, we will have more details as to how the vault will come into play for collecting your dividend, and of course the benefits of using the vault. So yeah. Other than that, all we have left are topics in terms of audit and KYC. As we've mentioned throughout the session today, the audit is in place. We're expected to have a return from Solidity Finance on the 31st. They've been very active and they've been very quick to answer our questions. So I don't think there's going to be much issue in delays there. And then KYC, well, Delita has offered himself for KYC, so you guys can rest assured that we weren't able to go with the whole team. So for now, we've just decided to go with Delita. But Delita, like he said, he's the guy taking care of writing the code and developing a lot of the contracts. So I think that can like give us a lot of assurance that the person that's like actually behind the computer and sort of managing all this code and all these contracts is the person that we have KYC'd. So I don't know, Delita, if you talk a bit about how that KYC process about how your experience was with that. Anything you want to chime in on in terms of that topic?
Just saying that with the Obsidian Council was very like professional, was very good to the contact was really good. Like I chat with Taylor and we had an interview, and it was it's a video interview, so they hold all the information on file. They hold my documents, and anything that happens in case of like, or what is the term that they use, because a lot of we will say a rug pull, but they use in case of theft or run away with the funds. It will they will make it public. But I don't know exactly how it works, but they will release to the competent, like to the I don't know, to the police or to the competent department to deal with that. So it will make me accountable of like of any rug pull.
Yes.
So
Uh,
you guys have to trust. Yeah,
Also, I
I
think
have
something
skin in the
very
game on
important to
this
mention for
a
those of
lot,
you that might not know Obsidian.
a lot.
Obsidian is created by a YouTuber called Jesse Akel, who is a very prominent crypto YouTuber, specifically because he's always looking into these sort of models, sort of the passive income side of crypto. And so this whole project, this whole you could say company, which is Obsidian, is backed by him. It's founded by him. If you guys want to check out his videos, he does some great content. I think a lot of people actually discovered Titano because of him, and Titano was a bit on the downturn, and then because of his video, it just shot up and just went bonkers. Um, so yeah, it's yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. If you guys have a chance, Jesse
His
Akel
his
on
last video, he
YouTube,
talks about
or
the
Jesse Obsidian Council.
house. So it's
Really good
good,
video.
good to
Really
go and have
explains
a
how,
watch.
how Obsidian is
Yeah.
working, and I think it can solve some issues if you guys have any concerns about the people we've gone with for KYC. So, seeing as how that's about it, or the questions that we received during the forum, and you've been looking at the chat, Delita, is there anything that you've seen in the chat that you think would be interesting to answer right here in public? I'm also been looking at the chat right now, but it's a bit chaotic. But thankfully, we have the team answering whatever they can within the AMA chat. So thank you, everyone. So yeah, Delita, if there's anything you saw within the chat that is very interesting and you want to go ahead and answer, take it.
I think a lot of people were asking about the KYC
Hmm?
and the Solidity Finance. I've seen the question about the multi-sig. Yes, the treasury is a multi-sig. We already run the multi-sig. The other thing to mention about the security wise is we have time lock function as well against the Pragma contract. So any move that the treasury will make against the Pragma token will have a 24-hour delay. So you work like that. We will make a proposal, and I will make sure that this proposal is also open to everyone on Discord. So they will see a proposal. So for example, we will move, let's say, this amount of Pragma to invest, to try to sell for USDC and invest on something, just using an example, or stake into another protocol. So we make a proposal, the community will know about it, the proposal. It goes to our multisig, we will sign the transaction. After the transaction is signed, it will go into this time lock contract that will delay for 24 hours the execution of this transaction. So if I make it today, only tomorrow this transaction can be executed. So once the time lock free, like the time passes, I can go there, or anyone who is a signer can go there and execute the transaction. So then we will be able to make send some funds to a staking contract, for example. That's how the time lock will work. So this is another thing, because in case of anything goes wrong, everyone has 24 hours to leave Pragma. That's the case. A time lock is not it won't stop a rug, but it will delay a rug. That's how we say. So if you're an investor and something happened, you have time to leave. So all the big ones are using time locks. I think there are very long time locks for. I think PancakeSwap uses time locks. I think they use 72 hours. So everything they do, it's announced 3 days before to then after
I
actually the
saw a
transaction
question
will
regarding
happen.
what I was able to catch
Anything else,
by all the
Ron? Are
questions
you
flying by,
reading anything
about
on
some people
the?
asking how to transfer funds from other networks into Phantom. The short or the best answer I could give you guys is, if you have any sort of sex account, like for example you have Binance, which I think is the only one that offers FTM. Sorry guys. I think the best way to transfer your funds is just transfer into your centralized exchange, like for example Binance. Also, please, before you do any sort of transfers on these sort of exchanges, make sure that the centralized exchange offers or supports the network that you're looking for. For example, Coinbase, if I'm not mistaken, offers Phantom, but you can only transfer it on the ERC network. And of course, a lot of these centralized exchanges also have minimums that you can transfer. So I think that would be like the easiest way or the fastest way. But the other way that you can do that is using a multi-chain. We're actually going to be making a tutorial video on how to use multi-chain and how to transfer some of your assets from other networks into what is Phantom. And the other question I saw was someone asked a very very interesting question. If I could talk a little bit about the background of our traders and why, if they're such good traders, they decided to go with creating Pragma. So the short answer is to why they decided, or why we've decided to create Pragma, is that we love crypto. I mean, most of our traders, they started off with Forex, but they saw a lot more opportunity in crypto, so they decided to switch over. And of course, switching over and starting trading, and a very important thing that many people might tell you, that for trading you don't need to understand what you're trading, or the market you're trading, or the fundamentals of what you're trading, but it's crucial. It's really crucial. It's very very important to understand the market that you're going to be working in. So since everyone, for the trading aspect, of course, they had to learn about crypto. I think almost everyone fell in love with what crypto is, what it can offer, and the whole movement behind it. So, like, the main reason we decided to go with Pragma is because we saw it as a challenge, individually, as to sort of broaden our horizon in terms of our experience, put in, test our abilities, develop new abilities. And really, when we started this off, it was more than anything a passion project. And as it started to develop, and we started to see more traction, well, of course, we also see it as a good way to sort of increase our revenue. This is sort of like building a business, and there's nothing wrong with building new businesses, or diversifying, or opening up branches. Like I said, I have a day job in finance, but I'm still doing this because I love it, because it's a great project, because it's awesome, because it's been an amazing experience talking with the community, and seeing everyone's results. And other than that, it's mostly because with trading, you need capital. Trading is your main tool, or your main weapon is capital. So with the whole idea that we had was originally to just simply trade our a whole pool, but then we said, hey, why don't we create a Titano fork? That would be fun. That would be something very awesome to make, and I think that would very much distinguish ourselves, adding the whole trading aspect to the Titano model. It was mostly that. It was something that we saw that was very interesting, that was very awesome. um I'm sure many people are also interested in sharing some sort of like previous results from our traders, and we're looking for a way to do that. But it's been a bit complicated, because there's not that many tools that we can use in order to create like sort of a detailed and verifiable report of the trades they've made in the past, the returns they've seen. But I just without doxing, exactly. Without doxing, it's a bit complicated. So for now, I think that the biggest way that we're
Without
going to
doxing.
show this, and that we're going to prove this, is when the dividend comes in about a month, 2 months. That's still to be determined as well. The dividend will be monthly, but on launch, since there's still a lot of things that need to go into play in order to properly distribute the dividend. That'll probably be showing you guys how this will all work. And of course, since we'll be working with the treasury money, we're going to have full transparency. You're going to be able to see all the transactions. I'll work with the public relations team, so we compare some sort of document, some sort of site where we can post what we're doing, and as also have that data put into some sort of business intelligence analysis tool, so you can see, like, in short, like what the maximum drawdowns were, how many trades we've done, the typical volume of these trades, and then overall the effectiveness of our team, as well as the effectiveness of their different strategies. And let me see if there are any other questions that I can find, because I think most of the team. Can you? The public sale. Okay, so the public sale, like I said, it
I
is
think people
first come
asking
first
about
serve.
how the public sale will go.
The model, I'd rather
I've
not
seen
go
like a
much
couple.
into detail, because it's a bit complicated, and the video explains it pretty well, I think. The idea is that, also something I think very important, is that the public sale, everyone can participate in it. It will be a first come first serve. It'll be open for 72 hours, and the main point, or the main how could I say this? The main point of the public sale, other than giving users that didn't get the opportunity to participate in the whitelist, is that the public sale will be for us to determine the price. So instead of us going and saying, you know what, above the whitelist price, we're going to add another 30-40%, and that's going to be the price that we're going to launch on SpookySwap. The public sale is made so that way, with the public sale and with the participation, the whole supply and demand that we're seeing with people, more the demand of people asking for Pragma, That's how we're going to determine the price for Spooky Swap. That plus whatever comes out of the whitelist. And also I think somewhere around there I was asked how much is going into the public sale. I think one thing I can mention is that out of the initial supply of Pragma that's going to be put into circulation, which I think is 4 trillion, something like that. Delita, you can correct me on that. 4.6. Yeah, exactly. Big, very, very, very big number that I sometimes forget. It doesn't look so good when I say I have a background in finance. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you're adding the decimals as well, so
And if you're
that's
doing
sort
way,
of why.
it's even
Let's
bigger
just say that
because
I'm
you have to
more
add
used to
18
seeing
zeros after
the
it.
simplified
It's really
version
big.
instead of seeing the whole number drawn out. It's just 4 point and B and then M. So, but yeah, from that initial supply, we're going to put into circulation for sale 2%, which will be 92 million. And for the whitelist sale, a third of that is going to go, which would be about 27.6 million. And the rest is totally dependent on how the whitelist sale goes. I mean, depending on how the whitelist sale goes, we will determine how much will be put into circulation. Again, the video that I've prepared for you guys explains, I think, in very good detail how it'll all work and how much is going to go into this. But I also don't want to be talking a lot about how we're going to go it down because I don't want to give you guys an answer right now. And then within a day or two, hey, guess what, guys? What we said was going to go down with the whitelist or the public sale in terms of maybe this small detail or this other detail, it's going to change. And again, everything is mathematically calculated. Everything is sort of part of a variable of a function. So if we change one variable, the rest changes. The only thing we're not going to change is the minimum and maximum allocations, but everything else is sort of, if we tweak some part, the result is going to be different in terms of maybe price, duration, whatever. But yeah, that's sort of like the short answer. Please just sit tight, wait for the video. Trust me, guys, it'll be worth it, and it'll respond a lot of your questions. And if there are any more questions regarding that after you've seen the video, we'll make sure to answer them in the chat. There is a cap.
Just another question. Like people ask, if there is a cap on the public sale.
Yeah, exactly.
I know the video will
explain. The cap is
the video will
dynamic.
explain better, but there is a cap.
The determination of the cap
but
is
it's
a function,
not
and the main way
cap,
that cap is
right?
determined is how the whitelist sale goes. But in very short, it's not a number that I can give you guys because that number could be very different. It really depends on how everything goes down in the moment. At the moment that the whitelist goes down and then the public sale starts, that's how the cap is going to start to calculate how much the cap is going to be of how much Pragma is going to be sold or what's the cap on the price, etc. And stuff like that. Another.
Yeah, just an answer to the people asking about buy pressure. So yeah, there is cap on the public sale. So
and also there was a question regarding the token utility of the project. Well, another. Well, you can see the token a bit like the way I see it or the way I explain it to some of my friends is that you can see the token a bit like a stock and think of it of a stock in a company that dedicates itself to trading or to investing, like for example Berkshire Hathaway. And that's one of the utilities, the participation or the ownership or the right to to the dividend that we will be distributing monthly. But other than that, the idea is that we won't just stick with simply being a rebase token, and we also won't stick to just simply being a copy of Titano, for example, being a rebase right now and then later doing the Titano play model. No, we will be adding more, I would say, products to the protocol. And a lot of these products are conditioned for users to be able to use. They have to be holders of Pragma. They have to be able to prove and verify that they are holders of Pragma. So once these products come out, we will explain more on how being a holder of Pragma gives you access to this. And the first product that we're going to come out with is the Vault. Like I said, don't want to go much into detail because it's still a work in progress. There's still a lot of things that can change. But in very short, to be able to access the Vault or to be able to access any other sort of products that we as Pragma offer to the community, you will need to be a holder, and that's how we're going to incentivize utility. There will be a lot of products that are not necessarily directly tied to Pragma, but you will need Pragma in order to use those products. So that'll be like someone's like, hey, I'm not really interested in Pragma as a token, but I'm really interested in this product that you're offering. So I myself will need to, that person will need to buy Pragma, and then later on, they can use the product that we're offering. Chat team, I don't know if you guys can give us in our staff chat any questions that you see that might be answered, that might be good to answer right now while we're live. Other than that, we have a very little amount of time left, about 8 minutes. The idea was that let's just wait for 8 hours. You, Delita, do you see anything that looks interesting?
There was there was a question there. What's the team's how much percentage of the 4.6 billion will go to the team?
The vested period
on our white paper is like 10%,
half a year.
And yeah, this is going to be
might
vested,
increase it, but we're also looking into creating some sort of, like, how could I say this, an allowance for the team. So that way we ourselves are limiting to how much we can sell based on how the price is doing, how the market conditions are, anything to sort of make sure that we're as a team that we're going to be probably some of the largest holders. So you guys can be assured that we're not going to suddenly just dump the project like some protocols have done, that they just simply go live and then suddenly the whole team dumps and liquidates their positions, and that's no. There will be a very long vesting process, and we will have rules in place for the team. So that way they know how much and when they can sell their Pragma, and that's still TBD as well. But rest assured that we're making sure to look into every angle to create the most secure way for us as a team. If it is that we want to sell, because at least personally, I'm not planning on selling that much. So I'm planning on being a very strong diamond hand, but making sure that whatever sort of selling that the team does decide, that it doesn't affect the protocol negatively. Guaranteed. Yes.
Another one, the whitelist.
I had that question a lot in Telegram, and many people are asking why we're not
building the
Pink Sale or other platforms. So, Pink Sale, if many of you have been like looking at what has happened, anyone can create a launch pool on Pink Sale, and Pink Sale doesn't do any additional effort to verify these projects or to make sure that who's ever launching the pool won't rug the project, or there will be a proper management of the pool once it launches. So since there wasn't any additional like security features that we could add or that we could get from Pink Sale or these other launch platforms, and the cost was really high for Phantom, it was around 100 to 150 Phantom per pool. It was like, nah, man, this isn't worth it. We could use those funds for something much more important, like marketing or paying services that could help with the coding and stuff like that. So we decided to go with our own DApp. And that way we can save those costs. At one point, we decided that it would be good to have the support of a launchpad. But unfortunately, there's very few launchpads on Phantom or native to Phantom, and the ones that are on Phantom, they're small. They've just recently started off, and it was a very complicated situation trying to get in contact with them or trying to set a deal so we can have their backing. But no, the Delita will be taking care of developing the DApp. I don't want to put you on spot, Delita, but I'm not sure if maybe once we go live, we can maybe share the contract of the
Oh yes, sure. Every time contract is ready, it will go
Awesome. And I
into
think
our
maybe we could
contract
probably,
page on our
if possible,
white paper,
launch it a
because
few
everyone
days prior
will be
to
able to
launch the
see the
contract,
contract.
prior to actually launching
The
and
contract
making the
will be
public.
public, all the
So that way
contracts.
everyone has a good time to review the contract, and we can have sort of like a community audit.
Yeah.
And we can have people that maybe know about coding tell us, hey, this function or this part of the code looks a
Sure.
bit wonky. I suggest doing that, and then we can, like I said, have sort of like a community based audit. Great.
Yep. No. Everything will be transparent. Everything will be open, and yeah, everyone will be able to see. Audit is happening, and Solidity Finance is returning with the audit, with the review,
Okay,
and
awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
Here,
ready to
I saw.
go,
Sorry,
and
I was
hope
reading chat and I
hope
saw
to
a
launch.
very good question.
Hope everything
The audit is
goes
currently
in a
being
week
done
from
by
today.
Solidity Finance. For any doubt that anyone has, we decided to go Solidity because Delita has a bit more experience with them, and he sort of knows them a bit better. I think it was more preference as to what they do. Delita could probably answer that in some other time because we're sort of running out of time. But we went mainly with Solidity because they were quick to respond. They have a good track record. We are planning to doing a CertIC audit in the future, maybe, probably. But the issue is audit is also very costly, and they do take a bit of time since they are in high demand. But we are considering audit for the future. I mean, CertIC for the future. Yeah. How the pre-sale will happen, how the public pre-sale method.
Yeah.
Some people asking if we will be
Yeah,
making.
Flynn already answered there, and yeah. So all good.
Exactly. No raised hand questions. Crawling.
The
That's a
public
very good
sale is
suggestion.
also in our
I
DAP,
think we
just
we
to
will add that
confirm.
for the next AMAs.
Some people
We will
ask
be
that,
having
yeah.
various AMAs. We'll be having them probably bi-weekly or monthly. The reason why we really didn't want to do an open mic AMA this time around is because to be completely honest with you guys, this is our first AMA, and Pragma itself, we've had experience with crypto and projects in various ways, but personally, this is the first time I'm hosting an AMA. So we didn't want to sort of let things get chaotic and stuff like that. So the reason why we're doing it mostly with chat is so that way the team that's in the chat can take care of whatever questions are very simple to answer. The expected time for the pre-sale or our target date is the 6th. But again, this is totally dependent on the audit results. So we'll make sure to make an announcement to let everyone know. Yeah, totally. Exactly. Also, like I said,
Yeah, we'll
sorry,
give
continue.
enough time to everyone to prepare and load the wallets and for the pre-sale. From that question, I just want to answer that question. How many hours of Final Fantasy Tactics I played? I can say something
Okay,
on
sorry.
about like
So
100 or
another question
200.
before we go,
So
because we have only
that's
about a
it.
minute left. Yes, USDC will be the main coin used for the launch. The sales will be in USDC, and the launch in the pool will also be USDC. And there's a question that I'm not sure. Why would you want to link up with Trader to trade using Treasury? Do you find it very risky? To be completely honest with you guys, I don't really, I don't really find it that risky from my personal experience in finance. And in finance, there's a whole sector, or there's a whole, what you could say, school in finance that dedicates itself to risk analysis and making sure whenever it is you're going to do any sort of financial transaction, whether it be a long-term investment or a short-term trade, this risk is analyzed, and the team has even though they're traders, they do have very solid fundamentals in terms of risk analysis and a lot of fundamentals in terms of financial analysis. But it's really not that risk. Like Flynn said, they're professional traders. Some of these guys have maybe 5-10 years experience in trading, and a lot of this trading is also algorithmic or quant trading, which means that the risk and everything is determined via mathematical equations. So it's not like, I feel like today I'm gonna put in 30% of my trade and I'm gonna put it in for 3 days. No, everything is calculated. Everything is a good amount of it is done by a computer, so that way there's no emotion, and everything is based on facts and how the market is actually working right now. So I think that's about all the time we have for now, guys. We wanted to make sure that this AMA was before the launch, so that's why we did it during the week. The idea is hopefully that the following AMAs will be during the weekend, so we have a bit more time, and also everyone has a bit more time to participate and join in. But I think that's about it. If there are any more questions, you guys can follow up in the chats that we have open. And yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Thank you for participating. For all of those that sent in questions beforehand, thank you very much, and all of those who asked questions in the AMA chat as well. Thank you, guys. We're very excited to bring you guys this project. We are very hyped, very pumped. You can tell that I've always said that the most bullish signal you could get is when the team itself is bullish, and trust me, in our own conversations, we are very excited, very happy about how the results are going, about the project that we're going to be presenting to you guys. So yeah, thank you everyone so much for your time, and we'll be catching you guys in the next one and in the chats. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.